It's a very late night NFL daily, or maybe depending on when you're watching, a very early one. We are breaking down the NFC Divisional Round playoff picture following the Buccaneers' fairly sizable win over the Philadelphia Eagles. As promised, we'll break down both of the remaining NFC Divisional Round games. The Niners, of course, now going to have to play some games. They host the Packers after Green Bay's impressive for them, embarrassing for Dallas's, blowout loss in the wild card round. And then the Lions, the best playoff game that was played against the Rams, by the way, sneaking by the Rams in a great game against the Bucs, who took care of business against Philadelphia, who may or may not be looking for a new head coach in a little bit. We'll break down both of those games in depth here. As a reminder, the AFC playoff picture looks like this: Ravens, Texans, Bills, Chiefs. We broke down this video earlier Monday evening. It is available on the channel. Go check it out. It'll be in the comments in the description. And make sure you are subscribed as well. For our playoff picture videos, our off-season coverage. And for this, we will be live for every single NFL playoff game here on Chat Sports. So make sure you are subbed, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Let's begin with the first game that gets played. It is the Packers at the San Francisco 49ers. That game set for 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox, a primetime game out in Santa Clara, as the surprising Packers, who snuck their way in, take on the 49ers, who are coming off the bye, a throwback game of two of the historically better NFC East teams. The Niners, for the 11th time in franchise history, had clinched the number one seed and had gotten the bye. They sat their starters against the Rams, making a team that they had nothing to play for. They almost won in the Sam Darnold game, and then they just kind of all struggled a little bit there down the stretch. This is a fantastic football team. I think the Niners and the Ravens, pretty clear to me, are the two best teams in football. But it's the postseason. And I was very confident that Dallas was going to take care of business against Green Bay. They did not. Don't let those passing stats fool you. Was not a good game from Dak Prescott. Their defense could not stop a nosebleed, and that is a testament to how good Green Bay played. They ran the ball great. Their defense was really impactful early on, and Jordan Love, on only 21 attempts, 272 yards, 3 scores, with garbage time coming basically after halftime. One of the more efficient games you'll ever see in a playoff game by a quarterback. So prediction time. Who wins the NFC? Is it Green Bay? Is it San Francisco? Is it the Lions? Or is it the Bucs? Sound off for me with the pinned comment of today's video. If the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and go vote. My top players to watch on Green Bay's side, they're all going to be quarterbacks number one. That's how football works, man. It's Jordan Love. Under the radar, I think it's unfair. I think it is unfair to other teams to have 3 straight damn good quarterbacks. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love. When you're doing your top 10 lists for next year, probably be on that list. Probably should be. They also ran the ball well against Dallas. And the Niners, if you can efficiently do it, you can have success running the football. So I am keeping an eye on Aaron Jones, possibly making a big splash in that game. Rashawn Gary, I'll put him as defensive end, outside linebacker, edge, whatever. You want to beat the Niners? Got to get pressure with 4. Much easier said than done, because they'll pick you apart on blitzes and stuff. So Rashawn Gary didn't do much against Dallas. That was fine. He needs a big game. I think he is one of the more underrated pass rushers. Isn't great against read option stuff. Less of a problem against Purdy, I believe. I'm banking on Gary for Green Bay, showing up in a big way. Over to the Bay, where the game will be played. Brock Purdy, number 1. From an efficiency standpoint, really good. He's better against the blitz and better out of structure than Jimmy Garoppolo ever was. That's a big difference in this offense. They have been so close for so long to getting over that championship hump, to winning that game. If Purdy stayed healthy last year, maybe they would have found a way to do it. He's healthy right now. Has to play good and avoid the occasional regression back to Iowa State, Brock Purdy. Number 2 is Christian McCaffrey, the running back for San Francisco, who is one of the more impactful, dynamic runners and rushers in the game. Part of a loaded Niners skill grouping. It's McCaffrey, it's Debo, it's Kittle, it's Ayuk. Take your pick. They're all insanely good. I think Kittle, by the way, could be in for a big game, which we'll spend some more time on here momentarily. And then it's Fred Warner for me. He's a special player, man. He does so many good things for you in the passing game, in the running game. He's a cheat code at that position. I love watching him play. He's going to make some big plays against Green Bay. Who you got then? P for the Packers or 4 for the 49ers? Go vote for me in the comment section right now. Now, today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. I have a special one-game Prize Picks for this matchup. Give me more than Brock Purdy passing yards. The Packers defense is going to start. They did allow 400 yards to Dak Prescott. That's not going to be the case against the Niners, but still some issues there. More than George Kittle receiver yards again. Packers' spine is not that great. Dallas had success when they finally went to it in the second half when the game was over. I think Kittle can have a big game there. I'll take less than Aaron Jones yards on the ground. There's a chance the game gets out of hand early. I like Jones a lot, but I think he goes for like maybe 55 yards. Again, links in the comments and the description of today's show. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Over to the other game as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hit the road to take on the Detroit Lions. How about that? Back-to-back home playoff games for Detroit. The Lions won what I thought was the best playoff game by a pretty massive margin. A thriller against the Rams. It was a Jared Goff revenge game, by the way. Did a pretty good job, 22-27, all the way down to the wire in that one. And then the game that wrapped up, not long ago, I was here filming this late Monday night into Tuesday morning. The Bucs took down the Eagles 32-9. Bucs had a bunch of drops. It could have been 40, honestly. The Eagles had no answer for the 0 blitz packages. They probably won't blitz as much against the Lions, I wouldn't believe. The Bucs defense played great, though. Could be a good game. Who you got? L for the Lions or B for the Bucs? Go ahead and get your predictions in for me in the comments section right now. All right, Lions top players to watch here. Jared Goff. Saw Dan Campbell, right? You're good enough for Detroit. Because you weren't good enough for L.A., so said the Rams. The Lions coaching staff, I think, is really good, especially on offense. Love watching Ben Johnson dial up some fun stuff there. That includes getting the ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown, where I think you can maybe pick on the Bucs nickel a little bit more. Amon-Ra, Sam Laporta's gutting through it. James Williams, a big-time playmaker in terms of explosive plays to fund Lions offense. Brian Branch, that's my dude. I love him. I think you can get Baker on some middle-of-the-field dropping plays, like kind of show guys one spot, drop in the middle of the field, and Branch is everywhere. Top 10 player for me in this year's draft class. I stand by it. I was right. He was very impressive all season long. Love watching him play. Over to Tampa. How about the chip on the shoulder, man? Baker Mayfield played great against Philadelphia. A lot of big plays, had some bad drops. Took a few bad sacks, sure, but, at least one of them wasn't a safety that kind of iced the game, basically. The Bucs paid him like $4 million here or something. Massive return on your investment. Number 2 is Antoine Winfield Jr., the safety, who I was also very on because I'm a sucker for an undersized safety. That's what Winfield is. He's an All-Pro this year. Pro Bowl snub, got the All-Pro nod. With what the Lions like to do, with some tight end usage, some running back stuff, and a lot of motion, you need your safeties to make big impact plays. I got my eye on Antoine Winfield. Finally, about Levante David. I have long said, that Devin White's one of the more overrated players in the game, and that Levante David was one of the more underrated players in the game. I love watching David play. He's consistently around the football. He had 2 TFLs against the Eagles, a huge one that eventually helped lead to that big-time game-changing safety. The Lions will run the football, so you need David getting the defense set up properly and making impact plays at or near or behind the line of scrimmage. The Bucs are the underdogs, obviously. They got to go pull off the upset, hoping it's a good game at Ford Field.